What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Make Stuff Better. Today I'm trying to make this better. Check it out. So what we have is a Walmart drift car. Forget who makes it, but it's a clearly a Ford Mustang from Fast and the Furious, and it's got a turbo. Basically, it's one speed. It's either going or it's not, and then you push this. That makes it faster. So I guess it's a 2-speed. You pull that and you push that, it goes faster. Your steering is one, it's either all or nothing. But let's make this better. It's got mirrors and stuff on it too. I think that's great. The body is actually like a legit RC body. I've been trying to find a real RC car that this would fit and just take this and put it on something else. And I don't have anything. Of course, my selection is pretty limited. This is what you see. It's really well contained. I love it. Took the liberty of removing those earlier. We've got the battery, receiver, ESC, combo, most of the steering servo, and then the motor for the steering servo is in here. I'm going to show you that in a second. There it is. I don't know if you can call this a servo because it's just a motor. It's kind of like the, I don't know, it's just what you could drive a car with that probably better than steer it. So that's out. I am going to have to figure out a way to put a real servo in there. This is what I've got. A micro servo because they're wicked fast and like these wheels weigh nothing. So that's not a problem. I've got this tiny little ESC that I got on Amazon. I got 2 of them for like 15 bucks or 20 bucks or whatever. And the motor in here, it's under here. I think it actually is bigger than this motor, but it's right under there. So I was just gonna hook this ESC up to that motor and run it on 2S. And then last but not least, the receiver. It's the Dumbo RC. This one happens to have spots for lights, so it'll control your lights through channels, which is really friggin' cool. So if you happen to have one of these and you're following along, like a step-by-step guide, I guess, these 2 screws disconnect the front from the rest of it. These are 4-wheel drive, if you didn't know. And there's your drive shaft right there, spinning the back wheels. But the motor's in the back, so that really spins the front wheels. So once that comes apart, because this slides under there, I've got all the other screws off, and this will come off. And now I have access to the steering, which has a little spring in there. So I think what I might do, because it looks like there's enough space here, I'll probably just put the servo right in this space and attach it to there with a little rod. And then I got my steering, and I'll probably pull all of those gears out of there. Now we're going to pull out the electronics, and we're going to unsolder the motor wires so that we can just install this new system and let her rip. Okay, this looks like your charging board of some sort, because your charge wire goes into there. You get a bunch of wires that come off and go to here, but we're going to put replaceable batteries in there so we don't need the charging board. Alright, so charger, control board, servo kind of, all that stuff is now out of the car. I actually did unsolder this and resoldered it just so it's all together the way it should be. I'll get this in a bag, and the battery, which I guess was looks like a nickel metal hydride because it's 9.5 volts. I don't think this is a lithium battery. Also based on the size of the cells, almost like one you get in a cordless phone or something. All right, motor wire's done. I have this awesome 850 milliamp hour with a JST plug already on it. So I'm just going to use that because the ESC has a JST plug. Normally I run Dean's, but this is such a low amperage scenario that I don't think it matters much. There. At least I think that's motor. Yep, M means motor, minus and positive. And then this is your switch. See it? And these two are your battery connections. Wait a minute. This is the servo lead, and this is the servo. They don't go together. I'm gonna figure something out. So very quickly, I had this great idea to tin two ends of a wire, and then it can be a jumper. We stick it in there. I take the servo wire. I believe brown is negative. Stick it in there. So now the steering servo is plugged into the ESC. What's wrong with this picture? They're both supposed to be plugged into this. I did all of that for nothing. But now that you know, that's possible. That's how it's supposed to look. We can do this. We can work on RC cars. Oh, geez. Okay, let's get this plugged in and bound up and tested. I think to bind it, we hold down this little button here with a screwdriver and we turn it on. If I'm not mistaken. No, you gotta plug it in first. It's blinking. It changed when I turned on the radio. No servo input. But things are blinking, so maybe go like this and just hold it down for a second. Well, plays us a little tune. Servo moved, played us a tune. Oh, that's beautiful. Now my servo's centered, so I can work on that part. You know, it'd be great as if this battery just fit in the compartment, but it doesn't, so we gotta figure something else out. Before I get too carried away, let me show you what's going on in here. So, this is your steering bar. I had to cut a notch out here for the servo arm. These little plastic pieces come out of my famous plastic rectangular tubing, and they just happen to be the right thickness this way to cut them up, and they slide right in between these screw posts. And then, of course, the servo bolts to it. I just finished super gluing those in, so I'm going to give the glue a little bit to set before I try and use it. But, I mean, this piece, this hole here, that hole there, they slide right over top of these. And then screws go in it to hold everything together. And all I had to do was notch this little thing out, and it slides in. It's perfect. It's so good. I'm so happy with this. I'm going to get the rest of this together, and I'll show you how it works. Yeah, that was a chore getting these wheels all finagled in there. We're going to run the servo wire right up through the hole where the old motor used to sit. Because it can. There. Oh, nice. Feels like it. Feels like it should. All right, back together. So for now, that's basically going to live like that until I decide this is working well enough, and then these things will get stuck down, and I'll figure out a way to get the battery in and out. I don't know, maybe I'll just stick the battery back here and build some sort of battery tray for it, and then have the leads just pop out of the back, because I would like for this thing to live on top like that, and it kind of keeps everything together looking neat. So let's give it a shot, see what happens. All right, so this is what we've got. We have fully proportional steering. Pretty quick. Fully proportional forward and reverse. But it's not very fast. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about that. I think a different motor. I'm gonna look online and see what I can find. It's a 380 size motor, which is actually pretty impressive that they put a motor that big in this car. So I almost think it was faster before, not much, but a little bit, because it actually would drift on carpet. I cannot see this drifting on carpet. So stay tuned, this is gonna get better. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. And this car will be in its own playlist, just like all my other cars, as we get better at upgrading it and it gets faster and more awesome. Later.